You want Eagles football? We're talking Eagles football. You're listening to 4th and John. Wait, what the is a JAWN anyway?
What's up, Philadelphia? We are live, broadcasting from the beautiful new media studios right outside of Philadelphia. Welcome to 4th and John, episode number 7, a.k.a. the first L is always the toughest to take, a.k.a. the curse of Jim Bob Cooter, a.k.a. it's Tuesday, and the Eagles just got flagged again, a.k.a. this is your therapy session, boys and girls. We are glad to join you on this Tuesday because we are about to Dr. Phil the shit out of this thing. Because I know you guys out there are feeling some sort of way about the Eagles taking that first loss, especially against the Lions, especially the way that they did it. And we're going to get to all that. We're going to talk about, did we get screwed by the refs or what? We're going to talk about, was Jim Schwartz and Doug Peterson prepared for this game? We're going to talk about, could Carson Wentz sail it that long? Was that the right call to make? But first thing I want to do is go to my man. We got a special guest in the studio right now. And this dude, me and him go way back to the 97.5, the Fanatic Fantasy Contest. What the hell was that?
Way back. Way back.
That is the way back. Yeah. My man Jason Ashworth has joined us in studio. We're so happy to have him here. Looking back at that game, the way we lost, how it all went down, what are your impressions of that game?
Well, and I don't want to take any wind out of your sails, but you kind of mentioned, I could bore everybody with the Ryan Matthews fumble. We can bore everybody with the refs and did we get screwed or not. I can bore everybody with Jim Schwartz and how he came prepared or flat in the first half. But the reality of the situation is what's sexy in Philadelphia, what everybody's talking about was Carson Wentz. And that last play of the game effectively for the Eagles, and should he have thrown that ball? And my biggest reaction, aside from saying that, look, first of all, the Eagles are who we thought they were. Right, they're a good team. They're building. They've got a core. We're not quite sure if they're going to be a contender in the NFC or not. But when it boils down to Carson Wentz and making that bet, I've heard a lot of nonsense this week.
Oh, yeah.
I've heard a lot of nonsense about should he have checked it down? Should he have taken the shot? Nelson Aguilar can't make a play. What was he thinking? Look, Carson Wentz, he made the right read. And for all of us out here who want to start anointing Carson Wentz and saying, well, he's got it. And Carson Wentz, he's the future. And he makes so many pre-snap reads. He's got so many veteran tendencies about him. Well, guess what? That veteran, right, he has an assassin mentality. And he stepped up to the line, and he noticed he has outside, single-man coverage on the outside. Safety is not going to be able to get over. So don't tell me that this future of the organization, don't tell me that this future it guy isn't supposed to take the shot. Of course he's supposed to take the shot.
Exactly.
You start dinking and dunking down the field. You only got a minute and a half. You have one timeout left. Instead, I realize that I've got a mismatch, theoretically. I've got a mismatch on the outside one-on-one coverage. I'm taking my shot. I don't care how much time is on the clock. I love that about this kid.
And look, had they made that play, or better yet, had Nelson Aguilar batted the ball down, we're talking about a completely different scenario. We're talking about, look at the brass balls. 2020. Oh, yeah, hindsight, exactly. Hindsight's 2020. But also Doug Peterson going to the first game of the season. All right, he did it again, going on a 4th down. If he doesn't make that 4th down, all of a sudden we're all questioning, is he making the right move? Is he doing the right thing? Is he making the right call? The right call was to go with the matchup. Yep. And sure, we could all hindsight and said they should have dinked and dunked down the field. They had time, but you don't know what's going to happen like that.
Well, and on top of that, one of the criticisms about Carson Wentz that some people in the league have had, or whether you're an Eagles fan or not, whatever that may be, is that the kid dinks and dunks.
Right.
And he doesn't stretch the field around. Right. So for everybody saying he should have just checked it down, for everyone saying that he didn't need to take that shot down the field.
He did.
Well, all of a sudden, what the Lions don't know that?
Yeah.
The Lions don't know that you're going to try and dink and dunk?
They've been doing it all
Isn't that
game.
the exact reason he had single-man coverage on the outside?
Exactly.
Because he knew he was going to dink and dunk, so when he recognizes it and he takes his shot, granted, it didn't work out in his favor, and I understand that. But I'm not going to kill the kid for recognizing where his opportunity was and going for it. That's exactly what you want out of a kid. Go for it, kid.
It is so true, and I have been getting sick of hearing that. You can't put Carson Wentz in that situation. Listen, you threw the kid into the fire. Right. This is the fire. The defense knows all about that dinking and dunking. He was doing it the entire game. Why not try to catch the defense by surprise and take that long shot? Again, if it worked out, if it worked out.
If that was pass interference.
If that was pass interference. The interception was the least likely thing to happen.
Yeah.
You either catch it, maybe you get a PI call, maybe Nelson knocks it down, maybe it just goes incomplete, maybe you just don't hit it. The interception is so easy to look back on and say you weren't supposed to put him in that kind of position. But the rookie made the read. He saw it earlier in the game. He saw the matchup. He's doing what his film study is dictating, and you can't kill him for doing that.
And let's not overlook the fact that the kid's a rookie, right? And he's going to learn. I'm not going to say it's a mistake.
It's his fourth game.
He's got to make a better throw. The learning experience isn't I made the wrong read. The learning experience isn't I can't make that throw. The learning experience is I've got to make a better throw. Right. And even Slay himself said, I was surprised he threw the football. Because the Lions didn't think the kid was going to take a shot. The Lions expected him to take what the defense gave him, dink, dunk, try and make his way down the field. And again, I'll say, for everybody saying he should have dinked, he should have dunked, he should have taken what the defense gives him. Oh, you want to play for a tie? Is that what we're doing? We're just playing for the tie? Whereas your quarterback, all right, your number 11 said, I don't want a tie. I'm going for the W. I'm trying to get out of here with a W right now. Yeah. So, I mean, actually, you know what? No, that's wrong, too, because he was playing for the win anyway. You get down the field, you kick a field goal, he's still in.
Either way, you're going for the jugular.
Either way, he's going for the jugular.
You're going for the jugular. You set yourself up for the win within one play. Correct. You run it to the middle of the field, center Sturgis for the kick, boom, you walk out of there with the W.
Correct.
The sky is not falling, people, but in case you feel like it is, we're going to get to your phone calls at about 8:20. The call-in number is 215-515-2924. We're also going to be taking your Twitter questions. Speaking of Twitter questions, my man Mike over here, who was at the away game party at Xfinity Live, was there. Mike, it's Tuesday. Overreaction Monday is over. How you feeling about the game?
I still can't get over the loss, to be honest. But at the same time, we were expecting this to happen. I mean, I was kind of expecting this to happen. I said trap game in our last episode. You and me both said this, and I just felt like it was. I had that gut feeling just like last year from the Thanksgiving game. It just sucks that we lost against the Lions of all teams, but at the same time, we have a big chip on our shoulder for next week against Washington. At least in my opinion, I think we got a big chip on our shoulder. Show them what we made of against Washington, our division rival. Go out with the W, hopefully.
No, and that's important to keep in mind. Look, guys, we weren't expecting the Eagles to go 16-0. All right?
Some people were.
Some people were after the first three games. But if you were to blindly say, okay, one game after the bye, Eagles are 3-1, take it or leave it. I'm taking it all day long. Now, the L came to the team that I didn't expect it to, the Lions instead of the Steelers. But nonetheless, we're still a 3-1 team. All right? A team which, by the way, listen, I gotta go off on it because I've been hearing it too much over the last couple of days. You know, the team, there's a lot of positives to take away from that game. Believe it or not, if you dig deep enough and you dust away the initial emotion of the entire thing, there's a lot of positives to take away.
You don't even have to dig that deep, though. I hear you. You're right. You don't have to dig that deep. Just get rid of the first half.
Well, yeah, but they came back.
A ton of
they
positives.
came back. They fought back. Listen, we're not too far removed from the Chip Kelly era where if they went down double digits in the first half, game over, man. It is done. Stick a fork in it. This team fought back. They had the lead. They fumbled it away. They turned the ball over. They made too many mistakes. The ref blew too many. I don't want to ref blame.
I'm ref blaming.
I don't want to.
No, I'm kidding.
And we're going to dive into that a little further. The reason why I'm trying to get to the positive so early is I'm trying to lift my girl up here, Ziz. Because she is hurting, man.
She's sweating it?
I'm beyond sweating it, and this is why. What's up, guys? Listen, I'm in a little bit of a slump, and I'm not going to lie. I am upset with our boys because I know our boys' potential. I know what we are capable of, and I don't know who showed up on Sunday because I don't think anybody did, so I am a little upset. But the people, and it's going to happen, but it shouldn't have happened to the Lions. The mistakes that were made, there are absolutely no excuses. You had a bye week. Right. You, really, this is your time to study. This is your time to get your ish together, and you'll come back even stronger than you did before. And I mean, I'm just upset, but I'm really upset with a lot of you guys, a lot of the commentators. I'm sorry. I'm going to call it right now. The people who are blaming Matthews. Enough. I'm done. You cannot put the entire game on Matthews. Yeah, Matthews, you should have stepped up. This is a time where you can step up and you need to produce right there. But come on, the whole game, the media is putting it all on him, and he should be done and blah, blah. Come on.
And that dude was devastated.
He
after
was,
the game.
yeah.
That was his birthday.
I mean, I would.
today was his
be
birthday yesterday,
devastated
yup.
too. But as an athlete, there's a whole team involved.
Right.
There's
Look,
a whole
you're-
team involved.
You're absolutely right, and I'm not gonna kill Matthews for it, right? But this is a trend with Ryan Matthews. Okay?
You're right.
He has a history of fumbling the football, and at the end of the day, yeah, fine. Detroit made a play, but when it comes down to that situation, they're all professionals, and they all have jobs to do.
Right. There's no excuse to
But
do what
Ryan
he did.
Matthews' job is to protect the football, so
You're
he
right.
didn't do his job.
Yeah, and I'm
in
mad
that
at him.
situation. And I'm not going to sit here and blame the entire game on Ryan Matthews, but in that situation, either you're going to do your job or they're going to do their job. They did their job, so you have to look at Ryan Matthews and say, "Look, this one's on you, bro."
Sorry if I misconstrued it. Yeah, I totally agree. But the entire game, come on, it's not all on him. If we would have stepped up in the first half, we wouldn't have been in that position. Let's be real. But the Lions, the Lions, they wanted it more than we did. There's just no excuse, and it really upsets me. It really does. I'm not gonna lie.
And the voice you heard is the man who drove 90 miles an hour.
100 miles an hour.
Oh my God! He tweeted out a picture in Times Square in New York City.
Fast and the Furious.
Oh my God, dude! How was it? You all right?
Good. I took a bus, a ferry, and a car.
I can see the sweat
Ju-
dripping
ju-
out.
I made it.
Just
You
to
need
be-
a
just to
tissue?
be
Just
done.
in time for the intro.
Yeah, well, it's good to see you in one piece, man. I was a
Yeah.
little worried about you, old Bessie. You know, I was
I made it, man.
I was worried that she was going to start losing panels, and you were
I-
just
I
going
made
to
it.
Fred Flintstone your way into the parking lot over here. But Gail, you were at the party, my man, my main man.
That was
And-
depressing, man.
Yeah,
I think he was almost shed a man tear.
easy. No.
Yeah.
No.
Then you're gonna be Odom to him.
I have no comment. No comment.
Yeah, that was a rough one, man.
It was a rough one to watch, and it was a rough one to kind of digest. But
We still have our franchise quarterback.
yeah,
Let's
I mean,
be real
it's
here.
just
I mean-
lost.
Oh yeah, I love him.
Rough? Was it? I mean, honestly, because look.
I mean, rough.
And I'm kind of playing
Yes.
off of what you were
Yeah.
saying in the fact where we can take the positives. Look, the first half was rough.
Yeah.
The first half was
Yeah.
that was rough. I saw a rookie quarterback. Did you see any panic in him?
No, not at all.
I didn't either. I saw a rookie head coach. You see any panic in him?
0.
I saw zero. I saw a defense that got shellacked in the first half. Did you see them buckled up in the second half?
They dominated in
They
the second half.
dominated
I
in
mean,
the second half.
that
They gave up 3
But
points.
they
So-
should have. They're playing the Lions.
Yeah, but they're all professionals, and I get that. And there are certain teams that are better than other teams, but at the end of the day, these are all professional athletes.
That's all they do all day is practice this.
Exactly. So there's not one team that's just going to roll over and say, because on paper you're supposed to be better than me, well, I'm just going to go ahead and give you the W. No, you still got to play the game, and I'm not trying to sound cliche, but it's 53 professional athletes against 53 professional athletes. And well,
Oh, there we go. Oh, so I wasn't even on the horn before. Oh, that's beautiful. Welcome. Okay, so my point is there was 53 professional athletes on one side and 53 professional athletes on the other side. Nobody's just going to roll over and give them the W. So what I took out of that game, the positives to your point, E, is you had a coach, you had a quarterback, you had a defense that despite everything going against them in the first half did not panic. We're not going to go 16-0.
No.
There's no team in the NFL this year Minnesota, that is going to go 16-0. At the end of the day, the bottom line, they are 3-1 after 4 games, and they are headed in the right direction. And we all said going into this game, show me a challenge. Play from behind. When your backs are up against the wall and you need to score, show me you can go put some points on. And for the most part, that's exactly what they did. I'm frustrated. I didn't want them to lose, but I saw a lot.
But if you look at it from a grander scale and not just the loss, and the Eagles fans are emotional, and we know they're gonna like react one way or the other. If it's a win, they're on a high. If they lose, they're on a low. But if you look at it from a grander scale, you're checking off all the boxes. Okay, first game of the season at home. All right, check the box. Not too big for Carson Wentz. First road game. Oh, by the way, on Monday Night Football, how do you perform? Check the box. All right? Against a team that you're supposed to lose to. That you're supposed
Super
to get,
Bowl
A
contender.
Super Bowl contender, somebody you're supposed to get smoked by. Check the box. And now coming off a bye, road game, coming from behind, we have like half a check. If a check is 2 strokes, we have a half. So, maybe I'm being overly positive about it, but yes, they're 3-1. To me, they're like 3.5 to 0.5.
But when you have to lose against a team that we could really learn from, what did we learn except step your game up, guys? You can't be playing like that. Like, honestly.
Well, you learned a lot. Again,
Like
you have a
what?
rookie quarterback who just learned that maybe I shouldn't throw it to Nelson Aguilar when he's going against a Pro Bowl corner. Because as of right now, how many shots has he taken downfield to Nelson Aguilar? Not a lot. So learning experience. Maybe I don't have the personnel that some other teams have. Maybe that's not a shot I want to take. There's a lot that despite even in a loss, sometimes you learn more in a loss than you ever will in a win. Because I don't know how much I don't know what they learned against that Pittsburgh win. I don't know what they learned in that game. That was one-sided game. I'll guarantee they took more out of this loss than they did out of any of the previous wins.
And joining us in studio, my man, you know him from Twitter as Classic Jeff. Classic Jeff, fresh off of his trip to Detroit, right? He was
The
there
Motor City.
at the game.
Motor
You saw
City
the
was
whole
beautiful.
thing. Now, you might have seen it through, like, beer goggles or blurry eyes. I know you're on that.
Couple bottles of scotch. You know how I do it.
Absolutely. We wanted the report of what the vibe was inside the stadium. Were Detroit fans thinking they were going to win that game? Were they surprised to be winning, and did they think they were going to blow it in the end? How was kind of the vibe there in Detroit?
I'll tell you, you just stole all of my thunder, so I don't need to be here anymore. No, seriously, it's exactly as you just said. They were pretty surprised to be up on us pretty early. I think everyone was looking around. They were shocked. Eagles fans were shocked. There was a huge Eagles contingent that attended the game, so that was great to see. There were a lot of empty seats up in Detroit, so that was a little bit disappointing, and they had a pretty good sound system, which I think kept the crowd pretty amped up. The people that I talked to around the stadium that were sitting next to me said, hey, it's a rebuilding year. They don't think they're going to be anything for the next couple of years. I think they had an expectation of blowing that game at the end when we were getting the ball back.
Nice. It's so tough. Like I look at Detroit fans, man. They've been run through the ringer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Here we are bitching about, a one loss where we're on the come up here. Detroit, man, you want to talk about a depressing situation there. Speaking of depressing, did you catch the end of that San Diego game?
You know what? No, I didn't actually.
But you saw the
I
highlights.
know what happened, yeah, but I didn't watch it live.
They
That's
can't
ugly.
help but
That's ugly. One of the worst run organizations in football.
But
they're so bad.
And Phillip Rivers, the reaction on his face was so classic because he even said, you could read his lips, we are the bad. Like, he didn't even blink an eye. He was just like, yep, this is exactly who we are.
That's a guy that just needs to get out. Because he is an uber-talented quarterback just stuck in a bad situation.
Isn't he up there in age, though?
I mean, he's still got another 3 years left in him. If he wants any chance of making any sort of run, you need to get your butt out of San Diego.
Which
he tried to do.
Yeah.
Which he borderline tried to do.
Which certainly isn't going to happen. Once again, if you want to call in, listen, we want to be your therapy session today. We're going to Dr. Phil you, all right? We're going to bring you back because there's been a lot of negativity, over this loss. And it's exactly what it is. It's just a loss. So we're going to go to our first caller. Again, if you want to call in, 215-515-2924. But we're going to go ahead and run it to our first caller. You are on the line with 4th and John. What is up? Casey from Colorado. Casey, are you
on?
Yeah, man. What's happening? You're on with 4th and John.
Oh, just kicking it out in Colorado, man. Trying to keep up with all the Eagles fans out there,
I bet you are kicking it in Colorado.
Very nice. So now that you've had kind of, the overreaction Monday to digest this whole thing,
Exactly right.
Hey, Colorado. Now that you've had the day to digest it, along with the munchies that you're going to be eating later because of the activities that happen.
Right.
Yeah, he knows it. What are your thoughts on the game? How hard are you still taking this? How hard are you still taking this loss?
Well, just to kind of reflect off what you guys were saying, like there was adjustments that needed to be made. I mean, if you look at the penalty side of things, we had 14 for 111 yards.
Yeah.
And they had 2 for 18.
Yeah. No.
2 for 18 yards. And 5 of those penalties ended in 5 of the 21 first downs that Detroit had were off of our penalties.
And I
so
hate.
We quit. I mean, yeah, and we can bicker back and forth all day on whether we got screwed on some of them or not. But at the end of the day, that's a game changer right there.
And I've been trying so hard not to be the guy to, like, ref blame. You know what I mean? Because I can't stand when other fan bases... Like, let's flip the script for a second,
Like
all
the
right?
Cowboys.
Let's say the Cowboys were playing the Lions, right? And it was a tight game. And Zeke fumbles the ball. And then Dak throws it long to Dez and it gets intercepted. If we were listening to the Cowboys fans, just blame the ref. Listen. The refs did not put the Eagles in a position where they were on their heels on defense in the first half. The refs didn't put them in a position where Ryan Matthews fumbled the ball. The refs didn't put him in the position where at the end of the game he threw the interception. So the penalties are going to happen. I'll give it to you. A lot of them were just bullshit. All right? I'm 5'6". As I stand up here, I'm Darren Sproles size, all right?
Do you want me to be the offensive lineman?
Who wants to get chopped?
If Jason Ashworth, who's how tall are you?
There we go, right here.
Jason Ashworth is 6'2". If he's the defensive linebacker, right?
We have
and I try to block him.
That's like 6'10".
Yeah, why didn't we go with him?
Chances are,
mismatch.
I think I'm about the same size as the line.
if I try to block this man right now, he's going to catch a helmet to the dick. It's going to happen, and that doesn't mean that it's...
That's a chop block. Apparently, that's a chop block
Apparently,
now.
that's a chop. Brooks is driving a man downfield with his arms in between the shoulder pads. Apparently, if you're getting the shit blocked out of you, you can just wave your hands and go, help me, and the refs are going to throw a flag.
And this isn't a one-time occurrence either. It's actually, they were talking about this crew prior to the game, just kind of alerting folks that, hey, watch this crew because they're a little nutty. And I mean, the NFL needs to take a look at them because there were a couple. I mean, they throw a flag on the defensive for a illegal man downfield? Right on that Jordan when Carson Wentz rolled out.
Barwin, right?
Yeah. Right. So they called it on Barwin, illegal man down. Wait, how do you throw a penalty and you don't even know who's on offense?
How do you not explain to the crowd what happened afterwards? Nobody in the stadium knew what was going on.
A play that should be nullified because I threw a flag on an illegal man downfield. I'm confused as all hell.
We can all agree that the refs were horrendous with the calls that they made against the Eagles and also the non-calls that we were all screaming at Xfinity Live. We were screaming at Xfinity Live, it's holding, and they weren't calling them. At the end of the day, if you put your team in a position where you don't play well enough and you leave it in the refs' hands, you leave yourself open for an opportunity where you're going to get screwed in the end. Flat out, the Eagles just needed to play better.
We didn't deserve to win anyway.
They needed to play better.
For what it's worth, don't forget, Vegas had us as a one-possession favorite in that game. We were a 2.5-point favorite. So at the end of the game, if we don't turn that turnover, we hit on the line. That's exactly what was expected in that game. It was going to be
Which
close.
is crazy, by the way. Again, not to get off tangent, but how the hell does Vegas get this right every time? How is it, like, what do you...
They got a guy.
I know, they got a couple guys, apparently, right? But it's uncanny. Because a line to you and I, we'll look at it and say, oh, come on, the Eagles got that, or these guys will cover. Patriots will absolutely cover. How Vegas gets it spot on week in and week out is beyond me.
Well, they got us as another favorite, 2.5 this week again on Washington, so keep that in the back of your mind.
Vegas is darlings.
But wouldn't you agree? Now, I'm not a big Vegas bettor. I don't bet on games. I don't even play the daily fantasy. But wouldn't you agree that, so many people want to look at it and take the cop out that Vegas is involved. Vegas is betting. No. In today's day of sports and social media and reporting, there's no way that Vegas is dictating what the refs do. Okay,
I'm not saying they do or they don't. I tend to agree with you that they don't. I only started to disagree with you when you said, well, there's no way. Because the minute anybody says
that was the first EROCK impression. That was the first EROCK.
So whenever you say there's no way, well, there's probably a way. There's probably a couple dudes that might take a fistful of cash for a call.
Gail, do you agree with that at all?
Oh, people are taking money. Hell yeah.
Yeah, but in game, like, there's shenanigans that have to do with. There's shenanigans that have to do with Vegas. You think there's shenanigans?
You think that's prevalent in the NFL or only in the European soccer leagues?
Well, that's
the other NFL, the other football.
Football. Morelli's wife hostage somewhere in there.
Oh my God! We're gonna keep the phone calls rolling. We got my man Daryl from DC who was also hanging out with us at Xfinity Live. Daryl, what's happening, buddy?
Daryl,
family, how y'all doing tonight?
We're hanging in there, man. You were with us. You were feeling the emotion the entire game with us, the highs, the lows, and ultimately the heartbreaker at the end. Now that it's Tuesday, talk to me, my man. We're ready to Dr. Phil you. How you feeling?
Yeah, I'm over it. I'm ready to get these deadskins out my way. Like, they win one game against the daggone Ravens, and now they're going to the Super Bowl. Kiss my ass.
Is that the vibe
Like,
down
you
in
win
D.C.?
one game, you lost. You beat the Browns on a technicality because the referee couldn't see the daggone fumble. Man, listen, we weren't going 16-0. We had to lose 1, 2, however many games. Trust the process. It's growing pains. We're going to lose games. Carson's going to throw interceptions. Just like Aaron Rodgers said a couple of years ago, relax. It's going to happen.
Right.
Let's just move on. Let's go to FedEx Field and beat the dog crap out of these stupid Redskin fans and send their asses home crying.
Yeah, and that's
all it is.
that's how you have to respond, because we just talked about checking boxes, right? We went through all the scenarios of checking boxes. This is another box to check. This is like a double-header box. A, how do you respond to a loss? B, now you're playing in the NFC East. Now shit counts. Now it's fucking real. All right? You have to win these games. You can't drop the 3-2. Guys, we're all sitting here going, hey, it happens. All right, man, he's a professional. But if they go to 3-2 and drop one in the division, all of a sudden we're having a completely different conversation, right?
Absolutely.
Look, and again, I don't want to piss on everyone's parade and everything, but it just boils back down to, I don't know, who do we think this team is? I mean, I don't know. For me personally, I'm still trying to figure out who they are. Right. I'm not going to take the first 3 games of the season, and tell you that they're a Super Bowl contender. I'm also not going to take the last game and tell you that they're the dreck of the NFC. Heading into this season, I think we all kind of picked out what our win total was going to be, whether we admitted it in public or not. Did you really think they were a 10-win season? Did you think they were only going to muster out 5 or 6 games? So things changed, right? And I'm seeing things out of Carson Wentz that I didn't expect. I'm seeing things out of this defense that I didn't expect right away. So I'm still trying to figure out who they are. It's too early for me to sit here and tell you they have to win this game this week. Because if I tell you they have to win, that's me saying I've got expectations of them being a legitimate contender in the NFC East, which I'm not willing to tell anybody yet because I don't know. And I didn't have expectations for them to be that team this year.
So
I'm
do you
still
think
sitting
we're
back.
better than them or no?
The Redskins?
Yeah.
I think the Redskins are trash, personally.
Right, so that's all we're saying.
That's just me personally, though.
Yeah.
But I think
better
the
than the
Lions are
Cowboys?
trash. I think the Lions are trash. But again, as I'll allude to my earlier point, as 53 professionals against 53 professionals, everybody's being paid to do their job. Everyone's being paid to do their job, right? And we don't win and lose games based on a piece of paper. You got to get that. You got to execute, and it's about who executes on Sunday.
Daryl, real quick before we let you go, give me a couple keys to victory, things that you need to see out of this Philadelphia Eagles team if they intend to beat the Redskins on the road next week.
First of all, the pass rush needs to be there. And last year, and the last 2 years, Jordan Reed killed us. I mean, I would like to see the fact that we got, Rodney McLeod, Nigel Bradham, take care of Jordan Reed, because that's the first look for Kirk Cousins almost every down. That's one. 2, can we consistently run the ball? Because if you look at the Browns game, they ran the ball on them crazy. The Ravens ran the ball on them crazy. And the wide receivers need to catch the ball.
Imagine that.
Simply
You mean wide receivers do what they're paid to do? Can you imagine that?
That would be an amazing thing if the Eagles could finally start finding some receivers that they could rely on to go deep like that and trust in those playmakers. Daryl brought up the NFC East. We got them next week. We just saw the Redskins beat the Ravens, right? Squeak went out against the Ravens. We saw
what happened there, right? Why they won that game.
Yeah, I saw why they won the game, but nevertheless they won it. I don't want to put an asterisk around anything, even including our loss, all right? But we also saw the Dallas Cowboys put an absolute thumping, looking good style thumping against the Dallas Cowboys. So after this, does this kind of change your perspective on the way the NFC East is going to shape up?
Absolutely not. Us and the Cowboys are still the 2 teams to beat here. We've seen the Giants implode upon themselves. The Redskins are going to implode upon themselves at some point. It's us and the Cowboys for the race. And really the question for the Cowboys, is Tony Romo their quarterback when he comes back healthy, or is it Dak Prescott the rest of the way?
That's going to be an interesting
I'm
scenario.
hoping they go with Tony Romo, really. Because the rookie is playing well. The chemistry is right. You throw a Romo in there with an injured back, and things could go haywire. That's what I'd like to see.
But plus, how do you take out the rookie? I mean, Dak's playing good. Listen, it's hard for Cowboys fans to admit that Carson Wentz looks good. It's not hard for Eagles fans to admit that Dak Prescott's looking pretty good. How do you take him out of there?
Well, they're not going to.
I don't think
First of all, they're not going to, because if you take the Rook out when he's playing at this level and you put in Tony Romo, and if Tony Romo starts having hiccups, and then you put the Rook back in, well, guess what? Tony Romo's done in Dallas, and the stamp is on it. If you just let it ride this wave with Dak, ride the wave, and if he starts having those rookie moments, if he starts giving you visual evidence that, all right, maybe we need to get Tony in there, then you can do that and spare both Tony and Dak. But if you start playing flip flop, if you take out Dak now and put in Tony, and Tony slips, well, you have a problem on your hands.
So are you Dak riding right now?
I might be Dak riding.
Okay.
I might
Jerry
be Dak
Jones
riding.
just said actually today that they're putting him in when he's ready to go.
Yeah, okay. You
It's
watch.
easy to
You
say
watch.
that when
and look,
your
like you
guys
said,
are-
fine, do it, please, do it.
I don't like
Mike,
Romo,
Mike,
but-
does it change your outlook on the NFC East at all with the Eagles losing and the Cowboys winning in the fashion that they did?
Not one bit, really. It's just going to be between the Cowboys and Eagles, in my opinion. It's going to be neck and neck towards the end of the season, in my opinion. And maybe the last game of the season, New Year's Day, right? Is it New Year's Day that we face?
Philadelphia, baby.
Yeah,
it goes a Thursday
I think
night game
that's
and
going to
then
be
a
the deciding
Sunday.
game right there.
Can't wait.
That place is be crazy.
Dallas is tough, man. I'm
They
telling you
are-
what,
they
Dallas
are.
is tough
No,
because
that's the thing. They're going to be a good team, and I think it's just going to be head-to-head at the end. I really do.
if you told me it was a Tony Romo team, then I would say, okay, well, let's see what happens in December. But this Dak kid seems like he's legit. And if they have a running game with the best line in the NFL, and I'm telling you, this defense isn't as bad as we all hoped it would be.
Now they're getting better. And
They're,
they're getting
that
guys healthy.
defense is
Gotta be
improving,
ready.
So-
right? And so I
Yeah,
mean that
for sure.
in terms of NFC East wise, God, it pains me to say it, but I think it's Dallas's division, and the Eagles are going to try and take it from them.
Well, let's hope that they do. We're going to keep the phone calls rolling. We got my man Joe up on the board. Joe, how's it going, baby?
Let's just say that Sunday sucked. Monday, I just got over it. So I just want to move on, kick the Deadskins' ass. So that's all I can say.
Now, do you think we got a good chance against the Redskins?
Oh yeah.
What's the score
see that.
What's the score for the game then?
What's the line for Vegas?
Don't worry about the line. Don't worry about
We
the
need
line.
a
Why-
score from you.
All right,
Don't
so
worry
you're sitting
about
there. You want to
Vegas
get rid of
line.
you want to get rid of the Deadskins, and that's all well and good. How are they doing that?
Yeah, I just want to get rid of the damn Redskins.
Yeah, but how are they
In
going to
their
do
home
that?
stadium.
How are they going to do that? I mean, because that's all small talk, and that's well and good. I appreciate that. But what is it that they need to expose in Washington in order to get a W? Like, what do they need to do in your mind so they can make sure that they come out there with the win?
Explode with the running game. With like Wendell Smallwood, trying to get him in there along with and Ron Matthews and Sproles.
Yeah, and you
Get
make
all
look.
three running backs in there and run the rushing defense of the Redskins down their throats.
Yeah, and it's look. I'll tell you this, guys. That rushing defense over there in Washington is god awful. God awful. I think they're like
Run
30th in the league
defense
right now.
What, they got Terrence West run 16 times for
Right?
95 yards
Just
against
give,
them?
I don't care.
A
Just
retread
let
from
Carson
Cleveland?
Wentz run it. And I'm being facetious, you understand. But I'm just saying that defense is god awful. They should be able to move the ball pretty effectively.
Wasn't it a little curious that entire Detroit game? I mean, Smallwood had some great carries. Barner
Right,
had some
right.
great carries earlier in the season. Wasn't it a little curious that like Smallwood and,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
they weren't involved in the
they
game
really
plan?
weren't involved. I mean, Sproles they were dialing up a lot of Sproles that game.
Yeah, but where was Smallwood? Where is this like Quattro running four-headed monster running attack here?
They're running almost 5 yards per carry, apparently.
Yeah, but
anytime they have the ball.
They only had, I think it was 116 yards combined, and that includes Wentz as well on the ground. Not one running back ran for more than 46 or less than 50 yards,
something like
45,
that.
something like
Sproles
that,
for
right?
45.
And Wendell Smallwood, non-existent. Now, there's something to be said about letting your guys get into a groove. There's something to be said about, well, look, if you don't, you can run one running back, that's great. You know, okay, we can run two running backs. Okay, well, we got a three-headed monster. And okay, well, now we're going to get Wendell Smallwood. So you can only let so many guys touch the ball. But at some point, I'm tired of hearing this whole, well, that's Deuce Staley's call. And Deuce Staley will tell you when he gets in the game. Because at some point, you've got to get playmakers in the game. And to me, Wendell Smallwood, he's one of those guys.
He's one of those guys that I picture, okay, so like Ryan Matthews is going to grind you out the first half. He's going to bash you. He's going to batter you. He's going to push the pile. He's going to knock your front teeth in. And then it was almost like the second half, I'm kind of expecting like the Smallwoods and the Sproles to kind of, now that you're a little gassed, you know, not Chip Kelly gassed where the offense is going 3 and out, but they're dinking and dunking and moving the ball down
See,
the
I
field.
flip it. I flip it.
You really?
I flip it. I'm gonna get you gassed in the first half.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make you chase in the first half, and then that second half, I'm gonna be a road grader, and I'm gonna get a guy who has the ability in Ryan Matthews to stretch it. Right, and to get some space between, but I can run your ass over too.
It's exactly what the Steelers did when they won the Super Bowl with Bettis and Rashard Mendenhall.
Absolutely.
Ran Rashard Mendenhall around the edge all season long in the beginning of the first half, and then pounded Bettis the second half. Straight down people's throats.
They did that in 06 with, what's his face? Who was the other back? Who was the other stretch back they had in 06?
Oh, the
kid
guy
out of North Carolina.
Yeah, that ran it long.
Yeah, he had
the Super Bowl.
Regardless.
Whatever.
The point is that works, right? Let's do that.
That's the only thing I really, well, not the only thing, but that's one of the things I do question.
Fast Willie Parker?
Willie Parker.
Willie Parker.
Fast Willie Parker.
Not only Willie Parker, fast Willie Parker. That's the only one of the things I question about the entire game plan is not getting the other running backs rolling a little bit more. Next up, we're going to go to our man. I hope he's gassed up. I hope he brings the fire like he always brings it. But chances are, Zomp's taking this loss a little hard. Zompster, how you doing, baby? How you feeling?
Listen, cut the music tonight. There's no Zompster, there's no COO, there's no game. It's a pissed off Eagles fan tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, let it rip, Zomp. Let's hear it.
All right, just give me a second to vent because I unfortunately live in New York City and I don't have how do you say it? The time or place or anybody over here to talk to Eagles fans. So let me just say what's on my mind, and you guys could tell me.
Let it out. We're gonna be your therapist, man. Get comfy on the couch. Get a box of tissues if you need. Yeah, exactly, man. Let it out. Go for it.
Yeah. All right. So listen, in my honest opinion, I've heard it all. That a lot of people want to say, listen, the officiating was bad. Agreed. Too many penalties. Agreed. The first half of the defense played, what was that? It looked like Billy Davis's defense. Agreed. There's a lot of people that really, in my opinion, didn't say what I thought was the problem on Sunday. And I'm going to be a little harsh, and I know people are going to say, Zomp, you're exaggerating, but this is, like I said, my opinion. I'm going to put the blame, when I look at everything, and I'm going to give you 3 reasons. I'm going to put the blame on Doug Peterson. And let me just say it first. The first 3 games, he's been absolutely outstanding. He's been aggressive, loved the play calling, loved going on 4th down, shows the confidence in the offense. Agreed, 100%. But now I'm gonna give a little little poke on him for 3 reasons. Number 1, the Nigel Bradham situation. I don't buy it any one bit about the rotating of the linebackers. The first 3 games, Bradham was playing. Kendricks, his snap count was low. It was mostly him, Tulloch, and Hicks. They were disciplining him. Regardless what they say, I'm not buying it. And he made a huge difference in the second half. And you got to hurt the player, not the team. You want to discipline your players, you hit them where it hurts,
yeah, but
that's in their pocket.
Zomp, and we'll let you continue in a second. Let's say they came out and said it was a
disciplinary.
I'm
here for you.
Thanks.
You can sit on my couch now.
Yeah, thanks for the layup. For the assist, rather. Let's say it was that. Wouldn't the Eagles be completely justified in that? You can't punish the player unless you're like, listen, you hit him 2 ways. You hit him with playing time, or you hit him in the pocket. You know what I mean? Isn't it right for Jim Schwartz to kind of set a precedence? Like, listen, dumbass, if you're going to do dumbass things and be a dumbass, you're going to sit the bench for the first half. Isn't that at least appropriate?
Agreed. But my mentality is I want to win. So whatever it takes. I understand it's justified, yes. But when you have a guy like Michael Kendricks, who is not a good player, and I've been saying this since last year, he is not a good football player, that you cannot look at. It was such a coincidence that second half we looked like the defense that was playing the first 3 games. I understand it, but there's other ways around it, and I think he dropped the ball on that one. The second one, you guys took my thunder a little bit regarding Barner and Smallwood, and that has to do with Doug Peterson. These guys, every time they're called upon, are gashing runs, always something positive when the ball's in Barner's hands and Smallwood's hands. It is unexplainable why they get 0 snaps in this game.
What's the third one?
The third and final reason, and I'll let you go because I know I'm holding up time. Third and final reason, in my opinion, and I'm going to get bashed for this, but it's like I said, my opinion. 3rd and 3, 2.5 minutes left. Everybody wants to kill Ryan Matthews. He's a professional football player. He fumbled the ball. It's on him. My opinion, who is the guy that called Ryan Matthews' number? Doug Peterson. 3rd and 3, 2.5 minutes left, conservative play calling, Andy Reid-esque call. You do not run a sweep, a toss play with Ryan Matthews. There are 2 players on this offense that are playmakers. That's our quarterback and Darren Sproles. Those are our playmakers on offense. If you're going to run a sweep play, a toss to the right, to the left, you use a shifty back. You use a fast back. The Detroit Lions knew exactly what we were doing, loaded up the line of scrimmage, and even if he didn't fumble, even if he did not fumble the ball, the play was blown up. Now, everybody's going to say, Tom, but what happens if we punted the ball? Wouldn't you have confidence in the defense? 100%. But why does the city of Philadelphia and Eagles fans and the coaches have to have the mentality to say, we're going to put our defense on there? 3 yards.
And I agree with you on most of those points. In fact, probably all those points. We have to remember that just like Carson Wentz is a rookie quarterback, Doug Peterson is right, Gail. He's a rookie head coach. He's going to make a little bit of mistakes, in-game mistakes, and so far we haven't seen many of them. But maybe he did make a couple errors in that game. I mean,
I'm not going to blame Peterson on that. I mean, he's a veteran running back. It's a short yardage. He's your power back. He's got to get that. He's got to make that play.
Sweep call, back call.
I would have went up the middle. Yeah.
Well, so
he's a veteran.
I don't necessarily agree or disagree on this because coming into that play, 3rd and 3, I thought it was either going to be. I thought it was going to be a sweep. I did, but I thought it was going to be Darren Sproles. Yeah. I was either going to give Darren Sproles the ball on the outside to give him a chance, right, to cut up and get upfield, or I was going to run him on the underneath. They ran it earlier where they get that pitch underneath, or I was going to run a jet sweep to have Ryan Matthews. And there was 2 things that went on that play. First of all, you pitched him outside with a slower running back. Second of all, Lane Johnson was 3 yards back in the field instead of pushing upfield, so there's a combo problem on that play. But I want to revert real quick, dude, because his first point with the whole Bradham. And what you do with Bradham. He said, I want to win now, right? And in essence, isn't that exactly – so we talk about maybe Doug Peterson got the call wrong, but didn't Doug get this one right? Because if you want to win – you want to win in week 4, right? Or do you want to win long term? Because this kid has a history now, like you said, E, of doing some dumbass things. And if I don't put him in check now in week 4, I may not have him in week 5 or week 6 or for the rest of the season because he may do, in fact, another dumbass thing. So for me, especially if this dude's talking about he wants to win, well, then to me, that's Doug, that's Jim putting their team in check and say, look, there's one way we're going to do things here on this football team. There's one way we're going to do things in Philadelphia that we can win.
He did play.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a short-term message, right?
It just wasn't in on the nickel packages.
Nickel and dime. He missed nickel and dime packages, absolutely.
And listen, you want to set the precedent early. You have to. New coaching staff, you have to set the precedent early. We all saw with Chip Kelly what it was like to mismanage players and player personalities, all right? Nip this shit in the bud. Send a message, especially the way Jim Schwartz did in that press conference. If you do dumbass things, you're going to be a dumbass, and you're going to sit. Whether he wants to come out, do your job, absolutely. And unless you're going to toe the line here, you're going to miss playing time because you are not above the team.
Correct.
And that's an important thing. We're going to keep the phone calls rolling. We're going to punch up 2 more. AJ's calling in. We love her passion. AJ, how you feeling after the loss, and how you feeling looking forward to the Redskins?
First of all, I was over it by the next game because I knew in my head that this team is going to be fun to watch them adjust to adversity, and that was the whole point of that game, was to see if Carson was going to bring him back, and he made a dumb mistake toward the end. Now, mind you, I don't care who called, him throwing that deep ball. I personally thought it was stupid. I thought they should have just ran the ball until they got close to field goal. It would have been 26-24 win, and we could have just left with our dignity. But there were a lot of times during that game that they overthought some things. And the first time I even seen Carson be a little bit shaky was during that time that they had that miscommunication at the goal, and they had to read. Luckily, it was like a call that had to be – it was a flag or something. There were flags everywhere. It was a ridiculous game. But they had to go back, and then they finally made up for it and got the touchdown that day. But you had so many factors that annoyed me that could have made that game – like DGB, run to the goal line, you dumbass. When you have the ball – you go to the goal. Like, you were right there at the 2-yard line. I mean, they showed Golden Tate was right by there, and he was pissed at himself that he didn't get in at that one time, even though they still got the touchdown. But we need to get DGB's head clear. And I'm sorry, I love Nelson Aguilar. I've met him. He's a great guy. But I'm sorry, he should have contested for that ball because they would have probably still had a shot if he'd have caught it. If anybody to do at that point, Jordan Matthews. I know he had to been open for a little bit for that split second, so I don't know where Jordy was. But either way, if you got a receiver at that point, whether or not somewhere along the line Aguilar must have thought to like, oh, he's not gonna throw it to me, and so that's probably why he was real timid and got picked off by Slay. And at the end of the day, we know that team is not better than our Birds.
Nope.
So you know that game was just basically 1 yard short of brains. That was just 1 yard short of brains that could have made the whole damn difference.
And
that's
why you can't take it.
I was over it because I already know they're going to be fine.
And that's why you can't take it, too hard or go so. We were riding such a high for those 3 games.
Yeah.
We were riding such a high that you can't look at this loss and now think, okay, it's doomsday here. Real quick before we let you go, you're at the NovaCare complex. You're sitting with head coach Doug Peterson. What's one takeaway from the Detroit game that they have to get better with going to Washington?
I said you have to continue to work with the same running backs when it comes to plays that you need more yardage for as opposed to the big, huge play. Because sometimes that big, huge play is not needed. And that end of that game showed you when it's not the time to throw the bomb. You had too much time to throw that bomb. If it was like 20 seconds or 10 seconds next time, Dougie, don't go against your first instinct. Keep Sproles in there because every time Sproles gets it going, they move. So if you want to move the chains and eat up that time, use Sproles. Don't do anything else different.
Awesome, AJ. We appreciate you calling in. We're going to take our last caller of the evening. Puga from Texas, all the way down. I know he's out there in like Cowboys country. He's probably hearing all the Cowboys fans pumping their chest. How you feeling after the loss, my man?
Well, let me tell you, it wasn't very good on Sunday. I watched the Eagles lose, and then obviously, like you said, I live in Cowboys country, and then they dismantled the Bengals, so I heard it twice as bad. I heard the Eagles lose, and then I heard Dak Elliott. It was just annoying, and I'm just ready for the Redskins now, EROCK.
What do you think happens with that Redskins game? I mean, it's your first test of the NFC East. You got to win your division games, man. You have to win these games.
Yeah.
How do you think they match up against this Redskins team that's feeling pretty good, probably sniffing themselves a little bit after beating the Ravens?
I still think this Eagles team can take them, but they have, even though a lot of the calls that they made were kind of, they called a bad game. I'm going to be upfront. There was a lot of bad calls that the refs made, but at the same time, the Eagles have to play a lot cleaner, have to come out and not play as sloppy as they did. The defense has to just come out and just, stick to their assignments. And I don't know what's up with Kendricks. I don't know what the deal is.
No, he was playing bad. He was playing real bad. All right, dude, we appreciate you calling in. We have got some Twitter questions to get a hold of. We're speeding right through this. We got a dozen minutes left in the show. Man, this time flies by so quick, man. This is way too fast. But we're going to go ahead and throw it to my man, Philly Mike, for the Twitter questions and go around the panel. Fire away.
All right, let's do it. We got my boy, Cod Drizzy, at Twitter, at Cod Drizzy. He says, coming off the bye week with some noticeable mistakes, is it possible the early bye week slowed down our motivation to win?
It's possible, but
I think it did.
I don't think. I mean, it did, but it shouldn't have been a factor. This is where they should have stepped up and killed it. Like, you had time to rest, you had time to focus, you had more time than the Lions had. So I don't get it.
I think some of the guys might have been feeling themselves a little bit in the bye week, and they started off slow, and maybe had too much fun in Florida. And left their guns
Where did Connor Barwin go? He went out of the country.
You know?
I forget where he went.
I think they just had a little bit too much time on their hands. I agree. I think the team was clicking on all cylinders. They were firing on both sides of the ball, and this was just a break at the wrong time. You saw what happened in the second half. They got rolling again. That was the team that we've grown accustomed to over the last 3 games, and I think that's what you're going to see in Washington next week. Good on offense, solid on defense, and we're going to come out with a victory.
No, I'm not going to give them that excuse. I mean, every team in the NFL gets a bye week, right? And I'm not going to tell you that that's their excuse as to why they came out flat. Now, defensively, they came out flat, but offensively, they seem fine to me. And I'm talking about a rookie coach and a rookie quarterback. And those two, that combination looked fine to me. So I just think the Lions beat them. The Lions made enough plays, and the Eagles didn't. And it's that simple.
All right, next Twitter question, Mike.
All right, we got another question from @RuinToday. He says, do you think Howie will try to move Ryan Matthews by the deadline?
No, there's nowhere to move Ryan Matthews to. There's no team out there that's desperate enough to take a guy that's been beat up, that has some fumbling issues at this point. And even if you are going to move him, what are you going to get? A 2018 7th-round pick for the guy? He's better on our team.
But you got Hinkie? You got Hinkie in your back pocket?
Yeah, and I mean, I think this weekend, he better. I think he's really going to step up. He's got a fire under his ass, and he's going to move.
Some people were saying that after his last concussion, his
numbers plummeted.
Yards per carry is down.
Yeah,
since his last concussion. So,
well, still, even moving it, it's very rare that you see players like that moved at the trade deadline, and it almost never is really kind of beneficial to, like you said, what are you going to get, like a 7th-round pick in 2018? And so you're better off just keeping them and trying to make it happen, make it work right through it. Next Twitter question.
All right, we got another question from @PeepForLife83. He says, any chance Kendricks is here after this season?
Nope, he's gone.
No chance.
Yeah, they might trade his ass.
Yes, there's a chance.
Yeah, they signed him. They signed him.
I mean, he's got a pretty penny in his pocket right now. And I mean, can they try to move him? Sure. Will they cut him? Doubtful. I mean,
do you think he deserves that?
So his
penny
play
right
so
now?
far, no, not at all, not at all. He didn't earn that money when he signed that contract. Well, actually, technically he did because someone gave it to him. But I'm not ready to move on from Kendricks yet. There's a lot I expect out of him. No, there's a lot I expect out of him because I know we've all seen it. You know he can flash at times. You know he can play at times.
But when was the last time he flashed and played? Like, honestly, even
last year. I mean, he had his moments last year.
But we're not looking.
He might not be. He might not be a Schwartz guy. You're right.
We need consistency right now.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Out of here. You know what I mean? If they're not Schwartz guys, they're out of here.
Look, I'm just telling you, we're not deep enough at linebacker to start just kicking guys to the curb.
Yeah,
That's all I'm trying to say.
If they do move on from Kendricks, it's going to be despite probably a pretty heavy cap hit, or at least enough of a cap hit to make you think twice about it. But in the end, you
Where's
might
the
be right.
fact checker for that number?
You might be right, Gail. I mean, if he's just not a Schwartz guy, he's out. We saw Chip Kelly. You're not a Chip Kelly guy. It doesn't matter how much money you're making. You're out.
How'd that work out?
Let's keep it rolling.
All right, we got another one from @Justin from SWP. He says, if you put one Hall of Fame player on this current Eagles roster team, who would it be?
Deion Sanders, no question. Absolute stud cornerback, totally changes the dynamic of the defense, shuts down an entire half of the field. That's a guy that I would love to see. Did I take it?
He took his answer. Gail, what do you got?
I like it. Like what you think.
Jim Brown.
Jim Brown. My man Evan behind the camera has an answer for this. Let's go.
I just want to say, could you imagine if Carson Wentz was thrown to Jerry Rice?
Woo! Well, I'll tell you my answer, and he's not a Hall of Famer yet, but he will be. All right? You want to talk about going deep, and it doesn't really matter where you place the ball. There's a radius on that guy. Could you imagine Randy Moss in a Philadelphia Eagles uniform going deep like that?
That is the first name that popped into my head, but I'm not going to. I'm going to stay on the defensive side of the ball, and I think it's going to make sense because the defense wins championships. So give me my man White. I want Reggie White.
Reggie White.
I want Reggie. But now that line is disgusting, and I don't care who my corners are because that quarterback is not getting the ball out of his hands.
Yeah, you got 2 seconds before you're on the ass.
Yeah. You know, EROCK, you started with the rod. I thought it was going to be Ray Lewis. I thought that was going to be the guy that you're going to drop for the middle and the heart of the defense.
I would take him too.
I'd love
I love Ray.
Linebacker.
You just
punch him in the mouth.
All the players.
You ever see that guy do that impression on YouTube? Dude, it is so spot on. It's scary. Next Twitter question.
All right, we got another question from @CadillacMac15. He said, what should be the game plan for the Skins game on Sunday?
Run the ball.
Yeah.
Run the ball. I'm telling you, this defensive line in Washington is garbage.
They're ranked like
Run
25th.
the football.
And we got to put pressure on Cousins. Like, he's already had, 5 or 6 interceptions this year, I think. Don't quote me if I'm wrong, but if we pressure him, our defense is, if they come out bomb, I mean, we can punish him.
And that's something that the defense did very well against quarterbacks, to stand in the pocket. I think where they got kind of mixed up with Stafford is he was rolling out a lot. And when you're doing that wide 9 and you're not able to contain a quarterback, he's not at that spot, at that drop back that you're anticipating, the line starts to break down. You got guys flying all over the place. Cousins is a pocket quarterback. If you can pressure him, knock him on his ass, more importantly, take away Reed. You gotta don't put Kendricks on him. You know, you gotta take away Reed. Make sure he doesn't hurt you. If the guys on the edges are going to get their yards, they've got kind of a stable of running backs that can chip away at you. You gotta stop their tight end. Period. Do we got any more Twitter questions?
Actually, we should head right to the Jauntlet. We're kind of short on time. Why don't we head right to the Jauntlet?
Let's go. It's Ziz's segment where she goes around the league with the Jauntlet. Let her rip, girl.
All right, boys, are you ready for this?
We are.
All right, here's our first question. If you didn't hear, guys, Lane Johnson. This kills me so much, but now Lane Johnson is out until the final game of the season. What do you guys think is going to happen with our squad because of this move? And who do you think is going to take his place?
It's Big V.
Big V.
We know
Call it Vitae, whatever the hell.
Yeah, go ahead. Good luck. Say that one again.
Vitae.
There's a reason I led with Big V. There's a reason I went with Big V. I'm not trying to pronounce that. But that's who it is, right? I mean, rather than put in Samalu and rather than move Barber to the right tackle, you just bring in one. You don't affect your entire offensive line, just that right tackle position. So, I mean, the kid's going to get a shot.
Yeah.
Our kid's going to get a shot.
I said it on the last episode. Listen, it's not just going to be Big V's opportunity. Doug Peterson has got to put a game plan that helps him out, whether that's putting Selleck on that side of the line and blocking, the running backs, Matthews, chipping the guy. They're going to have to give him help. It's not just, you don't replace Lane Johnson with one guy. You replace him with a couple, and you put together
it up for him. Let him figure out the NFL speed. Don't go out there and put him on an island and expect him to be Lane Johnson because he's not.
And he has a tough task on Sunday too against Kerrigan.
All right, boys. Next question. If you didn't know about Cam Newton, he was not at his game, but he was scootering around this weekend, injured and all. What do you guys think of this? Did you guys all hear about this?
Yeah, he was on that little moped-like scooter.
Right, and he's
being a human,
injured.
like being a human being that happens to play football too.
But right, but
I love all that. I love how these guys, because we see them on TV and because they get paid millions of dollars and because they play a sport,
no, but that's not
they're
what
not
we're
human.
saying. He didn't even go to his game because he's supposed to be taking care of himself. You're on a scooter. You got to watch your head.
It's a little different with the injury, though.
Yeah. With the concussion injury there, he probably.
Concussion.
How many concussions have we all had?
I've had a ton.
Everything he does is controversial.
Yeah, right? Why? You and
Not
I
even
know
just
why.
him, that's a rule.
Because he plays for the Panthers.
Big OJ head.
Yeah, I mean,
Simpson head, that's why.
So you guys think that's okay?
I have no problem with it.
Whatever.
All right, his is with the next question.
All right, listen. Colin, he is going to be starting this week. What do you guys think about him starting? Can he do it or can he not?
I'm excited to see if he stands or sits.
Let me hear it all.
About time. I mean,
You think
Blaine
you're ready?
Gabbert, I mean, really? You're playing game.
That was
Blaine
stupid
Gabbert?
in the first place.
So this is a good move by Chip.
Love it. He's the guy that Chip's offense was supposedly built around, so let's see if he can still play the game. The rumor is he's a little bit lighter, a little bit leaner. Maybe he could still move a little faster.
And maybe
Buckle up.
Maybe the locker
Just
room
buckle up.
Probably turning on Chip. Maybe
There'll
the
be a
locker
lot
room
of
wants
media attention in San
Kaepernick
Francisco.
Real
the
quick,
next few
Sis, you got
weeks.
one more for us?
Yeah, I got one more for you guys.
Real quick, we're going to have to rattle it off.
All right, here we go. The Vikings. They have the top spot supposedly right now. Do you think this has to do with Sam Bradford, like some people are saying?
Absolutely not.
Nope.
Still throwing for a
It's
league
that
low
filthy
248
defense.
per week, just because he doesn't have the interceptions. His defense is balling out. He's managing the game.
He's not
No
making
disrespect
mistakes.
to the guy, but he hasn't won a game yet. It's all defense. Let's see him face some adversity.
And one last question. Is the Panthers season over? Like
Yes.
they're saying.
Yes.
Yes.
It's like a wrap. That's what it is.
But that's what happens when you lose a big divisional game like that, and we certainly hope it doesn't happen when they go down to Washington to seek revenge on the Washington Redskins. Always
No, the foreskins. The foreskins.
I'm sorry, the Foreskins. Always a tough game, man. They play us tough, but you have got to win these games. We thank everybody that called in, everybody that tweeted in. We hope we were able to give you like some therapy, right? It's not all bad. We're all getting over this loss, but there's positives that are going to happen, and I promise you, as I sit here before you at the end of 4th and John number 7, the Eagles will beat the Washington Redskins. We appreciate you too. Jason, I am guaranteeing.
I
I'm
heard it. I
guaranteeing
just
a
heard you.
victory. He's got it on camera. I'm saying it. It is on record.
say
I'm
it too.
guaranteeing a victory. Until next time, we are going to head out of here as we always do with that Eagles cheer. Let's rattle it off.
E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles!
Excellent.
You want Eagles football? We're talking Eagles football. You're listening to 4th and John. Wait, what the is a John anyway?
I might make another baby tonight just in the name of Carson.
Excellent.
Uh-oh, retard alert!
Do your job! You like that?
EROCK, I fucks with you. You keep it real on Twitter.
Be more funny! Be more funny! Be more funny!
The guy is drunk, but there he goes.